Alright, so I just got off the phone with my old boss Mike from Rust Bros, asking him about the LS swap. I went and watched a bunch of videos and read up on a bunch of stuff about doing an LS swap on a C3. I don't think it's gonna end up being cheaper than having the motor rebuilt. And then you can argue horsepower, but if you're getting the motor rebuilt anyways, it's not much to upgrade it and get more horse out of it. So I called Mike to ask him his opinion because he's got way more years doing this than me. And he says that he thinks it would be better to get this one rebuilt. And now in the past we've worked with Canadian crate motors through Rust Bros. So I asked him if he thought that they might be able to give me a little bit of a deal so I can pitch that this will be a cheaper option. And he said that he thinks for sure they would, and he's going to give him a call and see price-wise for me and help a girl out. So I'm going to try to pitch that we get this motor rebuilt. The LS swap is cool, but there's a little bit that goes into it. The oil pans on the LSs don't fit, and so Holly, I think, makes like a conversion kit to a shallower oil pan. And there's a couple other things that you got to replace, and like a new pickup tube and stuff like that, which isn't a big deal. But the kit's the kit's like $300 or something like that. And then there's a couple other pieces and alternators and water pumps and a bunch of different stuff that I would have to change, and there's a chunk of the wiring harness that I would have to get, and possibly part of the computer system, which is kind of, I'm not saying I can't do it, definitely can learn, but this project is already quite expensive, and the car itself, we're already into it for quite a bit of money, so I'm trying to do this the cheapest way possible. So I also need to keep my hours down, and I feel like starting with the LS swap on this build isn't going to be right for me to make money off of it. So I think getting this one rebuilt is going to be the best way. So I'm waiting to hear back from Mike and Matt, and we're going to discuss it a little bit further, and then I can get a proper quote going for him. Right now I'm going to call the old car center because Blair told me to do that yesterday for ordering parts so that I don't have to deal with everything, they can deal with it. So I'm going to call them about the nose cone. And because I don't know, I would like to get a full price list on everything I'm going to need for the LS, but because I don't know what LS we'll be getting, I kind of got to search the junkyards, find some good ones, and then do up a parts list on a potential buy, because each different model of LS is just slightly different. But we'll see. We'll call it Old Car Center first, and I'll price out the nose cone and get that coming. So if I do have to send this out to get rebuilt, I'll have something to do. Well, it's at the other shop. There's a couple other things that this car's gonna need, like probably a new brake booster. Needs new belts for sure. Needs a couple different things, but the motor's the biggest thing. And Mike was also saying that I could probably get the transmission rebuilt for an extra $1,000 if I go through Canadian crate, which would be ideal. The transmission in this is still really good, but I mean, if you're getting the motor rebuilt, you might as well do the trans. The other thing too with the LS swap, I'm not 100% sure because this hood is very flat, and so I also might need a different intake. It might sit up too high, or I have to go with the other hood style, which I don't really want to do. And then plus you need an adapter to go from, you can use the original transmission with the LS, but you need to buy an adapter, and the adapter is really cheap, but then it's possible that your transmission might sit back further, so I might have to change the brackets and possibly shorten the drive shaft. Again, these are just possibilities because you really kind of don't know till you get it in there. I looked up online and there's like a few LS swap videos of people doing this stuff, and everybody does it completely differently, so I'm still trying to like figure it out a little bit on my own. But it also might need a new cradle, and like there's a few other things. Not sure if I would have to change the steering components. So anyways, it's just seeming like it's gonna be a lot more a lot more time and a lot more money for other parts to do the LS. I think the LS itself would be cheaper, but then everything that you have to go along with it to make it fit isn't going to be the right thing for this car, because it's just like not a whole lot of room in the engine bay, and the LS is just bigger. So I'm gonna push to get this motor rebuilt. But anyways, I gotta call Old Car Center. Let me see if I can set myself up an account, and then I'll order the nose cone for this. We'll just run it without the hood, you know? We'll just put like a big blower or something on the top. Cut the front half of the hood off and just like Alright, so I got the one side of the headers off, but the car is not high enough for me to drop it out to the bottom, so I'm going to work on getting the other side off, and then I'm going to have to re-jack up the car higher to actually get them out from the bottom, because I can't lift them out from the top. I need a hoist, but that's okay. Alright, I think everything on the top end of the motor is all disassembled, so now I gotta go under the car and disconnect the trans lines and the drive shaft, because we're gonna pull the motor and the transmission out at the same time, because we might get the trans rebuilt. So I think everything is disconnected on the top, but I'm sure as soon as we pull it out I will have missed a wire. But I'm gonna start working on the underside now. I also still have to deal with the motor mounts, and yeah, drive shaft and a couple more tranny lines. Alright, so I tried to shimmy under the car to get the drive shaft out, but I'm gonna have to lift the rear end because I can't even fit under there. However, the only other place I can get to at the jack is the front of the rear tires. So we're gonna see how this works out. We're gonna leave the jack there just as extra precaution. There's two jacks in, it's not gonna fall, but extra cautious. Whew. Solid. Alright, so got almost everything off underneath of the car, except for a couple tranny lines that I'm hoping to reach underneath of this, but I gotta disconnect the shifter before we get it, or get everything pulled out. Probably have missed something. I also don't know how this comes apart, so we're just gonna take screws off until something happens. Alright, so I got all the screws I can see undone. However, still can't get this out. I've been like slowly wiggling it and you can always get it out. There's something stuck here in the center section. This plate comes off, but what I'm running into is that it's hitting the heads of these. And these have a tiny little Allen that you can take the heads off. However, they're rusty and stripped. So I'm missing something here, but I can't quite figure out what it is because like the whole thing's loose front to back. But for some reason it's caught. So, I'm not sure.
Okay, we're having a bit of an issue here. Don't blow away, Cassidy. Of course, Bobo has to be. You're gonna go across the shop. What the actual?
Oh, Jesus.
Holy crap. All right. So, what the? Where did the wind come from? Where's Bobo? Okay. Yeah,
that's up. We can't hold it.
Well, if I can get it onto the drum and then try to get it back into the frame, which appears to have come off of the stud. But I see what you mean. Once it goes up too high, here, you pull this. I'm gonna hang on to the door. I'm a lot heavier than you are. Keep going if you can. No.
That's it. Whatever that thing is.
Yeah, that, whatchamacallit, stopping it. As soon as it gets around, the thing that's supposed to hold it in. Okay, so we're screwed.
So, can we take like a, do we have a 2x4 or a piece
You know
of
what we
wood
could
long
do?
enough that...
Push the car back against it. Bring it back down a bit. Put the Mustang in neutral, Cassidy. Because it'll keep it from moving for now until Bobo can get up here and... Okay, and I don't think the wheels are blocked. We should be able to just push it back. I don't know where the keys are for it. Otherwise...
it's in neutral.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
There.
let me
Now the door can't blow off. Yeah. Put it in here. Okay. Okay. All right. Now the door shouldn't be able to fly off its hinges. So I'd like to note for the record that I am not the angry, aggressive one like everyone says I am. Bobo needs to, we messed up his supper. That's what he's chapped about. Why don't you go eat and we'll just leave the door open for now.
So it falls on the Mustang, then I get yelled at.
It's not going to fall on the Mustang if I hook the chain up.
Alright guys, so it's Friday. So I'm just getting my side of the shop cleaned up and getting ready to drive home. A little bit of a update. We have decided to get this original motor rebuilt, I think. Still up in the air. But it's almost ready to get pulled out. The only thing I'm still struggling with is getting that center console out so I can get at the shifter linkage. And then I just have to undo 2 tranny lines and the tranny mount. And then I'm pretty sure this thing's ready to get pulled out. I have to leave early today, so this is where we're gonna leave it. I got, you know, everything else out. The motor mounts I got out this morning, along with the power steering pump because it was in my way. Dropped the other side of the headers out. Ended up having to take the spark plugs out of one side of the motor to get the headers out. But there's only a couple things left to do, and then we'll pull it out. So on Tuesday when I come back here, that's what I'll do. Hopefully it'll just be an hour of figuring out. I'm gonna have to think on how to get that console apart. I think I might end up having to drill out. There's there's 2 small pieces I need to get off before I can take the center console out, and I think I'm gonna have to go buy a really tiny drill bit to drill them out and then replace them afterwards. So yeah, anyways, that's where I'm at today. And then Tuesday, hopefully we'll get this motor ripped out, which will be fun. I'm still debating on whether or not I'm gonna take this support out. It's gonna be pretty hard to get the motor and trans out of here, I think, without doing it, but we'll see. I'm just worried that the front nose of the the front nose cone, might be too long from the motor. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it, but this is how I'm gonna leave it. I've still got a drip pan under there because there's still some power steering fluid dripping out of there. But yeah, so I'm just about to finish cleaning up and then I'm done for the week. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe if you guys want to see more content. And also drop your suggestions down below if there's anything else that you think we can do to this car that is cost effective but would make it just a little bit cooler in some way.